Different things can make for bad days for people. And let's talk about a couple things that could make a person's day feel very bad. But let's first look at a little bit that I have in my hands right here. How much money do I have in my hands right here? I have 4 quarters, right? 4 quarters? How much is 4 quarters? Anybody know? Yeah. 4 quarters? Yeah, Brenna. It's $1. Okay. But let's say yesterday was a really bad day for me. See, I got sick, and I was really sick. And so I had to go to the doctor. Well, the doctor costs me money. And let's say they give me a bill for 25 cents. Well, that 25 cents is gone. Now I get to the end of that doctor's visit, right? And they tell me, yes, it is 4, exactly. And I get to the end of the doctor's visit and they say, you need to go pick up this medicine for yourself. And so I go to Walgreens and I pick up my medicine and they say, that'll be another 25 cents, sir. That's 25 cents gone. How much am I left with? 50 cents, right? 2 quarters. But then as I'm driving home from Walgreens, I have another terrible thing happen to me and somebody hits the back of my car and I get in an accident. And on top of it, then I end up damaging my car and I go to see how much it's going to be to repair my car. And they say, sir, your car will be another 25 cents to be repaired. Okay, that's 25 cents gone. How much am I left with? Just 1 quarter left, 25 cents. And then I get home and I look at my house and I realize the gutters are coming off the roof and the paint is chipping and my basement got flooded last night and I need to have my house repaired. And so I send for all kinds of repairmen to come over and they say, well, if we add up all the costs of repairing your house, that's going to be another 25 cents. Okay, that's gone. And then there's still something more. I didn't have anything in the refrigerator. I don't have anything in the pantry. I need food to eat. And on top of it, my clothes have been getting holes in. I've been gaining a little bit of weight. My underwear is too small for me. My socks are beginning to be filled with holes too. I need to get rid of them. They're all stinky. And I go to myself, I have no money left. All of my money was spent on all these other things. This is just a terrible day. And I still have to pay the electricity, and I still have to pay for water, and I still got to get all of these other things. This was a really bad day. Whether we're sick or things break and we need to repair them, other bad things happen to us. Sometimes life can be pretty hard. And it was for the people of Israel, too, that came to see Jesus many, many, many years ago. See, Jesus' disciples that were following him, like Peter and Andrew and James and John, they had something really hard happen to them. In fact, their friend had just died. And besides their friend just dying, they had come back from a mission trip telling others about Jesus, spreading the good news of him to the world, but they were really tired with everything that had happened. And they wanted to get away and get some rest, but they couldn't. Do you know why? Because everybody wanted to see them, but more importantly, everybody wanted to see Jesus. And so even when they tried to get away, the crowds followed after them, and the disciples were tired by the end of the day of Jesus teaching and preaching and healing. They didn't know what to do. The people were hungry. They needed food for their bellies, and then it was getting late. They needed a roof over their heads. What was going to happen? There wasn't any food for them. It would take half a year to come up with the money to make enough food for all of these people. There just wasn't a way to do it. And then even one of the disciples, Andrew brought this kid in front of Jesus and he said, here's this boy. He has 5 loaves of bread and 2 fish. But guess what? There were thousands and thousands and thousands of people there that day. They were out in the wilderness and they were listening to Jesus preach and teach. Is 5 loaves of bread and 2 fish going to feed thousands and thousands of people? No. The disciples didn't know how they could do it. And so they came to Jesus. But do you know what Jesus did? He loved the disciples. And he showed them his heart. He had the disciples sit down, and as he had them sit down, he took the basket of 5 loaves of bread and 2 fish, and he said a prayer of thanks to God, because we should always thank God for his love to us for giving us stuff. But then something amazing happened. He took the disciples and he had them distribute the food, but it just kept going and going and going. 5 loaves ended up just becoming 5 loaves more. 2 fish became 2 fish more. And it just kept going. There was so much food then that they fed thousands of people sitting there. Everybody had enough for their bellies that night. And in fact, as they went around and collected leftovers, there were so much food that there were 12 baskets of leftover food. But what can we learn from this? That sometimes we have really bad, really hard, really challenging times in life, and we could be afraid. We could say, I don't know how God is going to take care of me. I feel so sick. I feel so rotten. I feel so bad. What's going to all happen? But in the end, Jesus comes to us and he says, trust me. I love you enough that I gave my life for you. I love you enough that I have made you my child. I call you every day to be my own, and I bring you into my arms, and I'll never let you go. So if I love you that much that I died for you, I will also make sure you have enough for what you need. You don't need to be afraid of the future. And when you have a bad day, you can come and rest with me, because I will always give you enough. I will always give you what you need. And oftentimes, I will give you so much more. And so let's ask Jesus to help us to trust him. Dear Jesus, sometimes we have bad days. They don't always go great. But help us, even in those bad days, to trust you and your love for us, that you will always give us what we need. And oftentimes, dear Jesus, you give us so much more. Amen. You guys can go be seated.